when I had to go in any place for administration, it wasn't very easy sometimes. Plus, when you don't speak Russian very well, it's very hard. And I had to put my name in a paper like that. And there were already 30 people before me. And sometimes I had just to go back home and to go back the day after and to say, okay, 4 more. So do I have to wait or should I go back here? I have to say that when you are a businessman, when you want to start new business, it's very easy, much more easy than in France. And this is, by the way, the reason why a lot of people now from France, even the people who doesn't want to move in Russia, they want to have a company in Russia, or they want at least to open a bank account in Russia. I brought her to the director of the school and I say, hey, I want to show you something. And I say to my daughter Clotilde, please, could you say the poem that you learned? Had as his eyes like that, he take me on his arm and say, we won the bet. Because, it was amazing.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another video of Brain Consulting. And today we have Fabrice Sorlin in the studio with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for coming. It's a great pleasure to have you here. And your story is actually very interesting because in 2015, you started coming to Russia. And by decree of President Vladimir Putin, you and your family received Russian citizenship. So by the decree. And you have a very rich background of helping Russia, working with Russia, having your interests in Russia. You're currently vice president of the International Russophile Movement, and you have also spoken at many forums in Russia, such as Russia, the Home of Nations, and you even have a documentary film made about you. So how is it like to you're being a Frenchman, to have all your interests, many of your interests invested in a country that's different to the country where you grew up, in your country of birth?
So as you said, I decided to move with my whole family on 2015. My wife at that time was pregnant with our 7th children, and I had 3 more.
So your second or seventh?
Seventh children, and we had 3 more in Russia. So 4 of them born in Russia and 6 in France. The move in Russia went well, but of course, it's never very easy for someone who is used to live in his country. And plus, I have to say that I'm a French patriot. I do like my country. I do like it very much. I have problem with the government of France. I have a big problem with them because I think that they are destroying my country, but I do like and love my country. On one point, it was very easy for me to come here because I was very welcome by all the Russian people. I'm not living inside Moscow, but a bit outside of the city. Mm-hmm. And when I came there, everyone was very kind with us. They welcome us very kindly nearby my home, the neighbor, or when I decided to put also my children in the school. This part was very easy, but the most difficult part, of course, is that, I miss my country sometimes and very often. And plus the distance between my family and all my relatives is not also very easy because I have my parents, brothers, sisters. I have a big family, large family in France, and the family of my wife is even bigger than mine. So we let all the cousin, all the uncle, everyone there. So this part is not every time very easy, but this is why I try at least 1 in a year to go back France, because for me it's very important that my children, my wife and me, we are still seeing our relatives.
How do you maintain the connection despite being away from each other?
So as I said, one a year, during the summer holidays, we go back in France, but also thanks to the new technology, we do a Zoom meeting or WhatsApp or Telegram, even though that last, I think, couple of months, Telegram and WhatsApp was it's a bit more complicated. Yes. But we always find some solution, to be in touch and to have call or video call with the family, which is, of course, very, very important for us.
How did your family and your wife's family react to the fact that you're moving to Russia?
I am supporting Russia already for a very long time. In 2008, I created in France an association, a friendship association between France and Russia. So I was very involved into this link between France and Russia, and all my family and the family of my wife were supporting this idea. They all like Russia. So when we told them that we decided to move, they all supported this idea because they knew that this country is a good one. So I had nobody told me, oh, don't go there, it's a very dangerous country, because in my circle of family or friends, they are all pro-Russian for a very long time. So on that point, and my biggest supporter was my father. He told me, oh, you have to go there. Yes, it's a very good idea. Go there with your wife and your children. Your children will have a very good education there, and they will have traditional values and so on. So yeah, I have to say that I had no problem with my family or my friends in France when I decided to move.
So that was back in 2015. But now, obviously, things have developed. And how do you feel the reaction to President Putin's decree that simplified getting residency here? How did that kind of, what was the reaction to people in France to this decree, especially to those who want to move to Russia?
I'm a blogger and I'm a public figure in France. So since President Putin signed this decree in August 2024, I received a lot of calls or messages from people, and they ask me for a question about how they can move, and there are more and more people who are willing to move in Russia. So I think that this decree was very good for a lot of people. They were waiting something like that, because we all know that the bureaucracy is not always easy. I remember when I came here, and especially when you are not living in Moscow, in the big city, when I had to go in any place for administration, it wasn't very easy sometimes. Plus, when you don't speak Russian very well, it is very hard. But thanks to this new decree, everything is much more easy. And I have to say that the bureaucracy is becoming less and less heavy.
Mhm.
And for example, I was very when I go now to gosposlugi, MFC, or all this moi documenti, it's very modern. Now you don't have to wait, and there is a big difference now than it used to be
2015.
10 years ago, So now everything is much more easier for a foreigner who wants to set up in Russia.
So Fabrice is referring to my documenty, gosposlugi, which are digitized. So gosposlugi is a digitized service to help people in Russia and foreigners to systemize their life in Russia. And I can't imagine what it was like in 2015 when you actually had to go to everywhere in person, really.
Yeah. I have some not very good memory about that time. I used to go quite far away from my home, and I wanted to have to see someone from the administration, and I had to put my name in a paper like that. And there were already 30 people before me, and sometimes I had just to go back home and to go back the day after and to see, okay, 4 more. So do I have to wait, or should I go back? But now it's totally finished. You go in the moi documenti, and you take the ticket. You can see that it's very fast, and plus it is so fast that in my documenti, for example, when we have to wait more than 20 or 30 minutes, they offer you coffee or tea, because now it's very, very fast. You don't have the time to take a coffee. You already, as soon as you come, 10 minutes maximum, and then you can have a talk with the people you want.
If that's the developments in Russia, or do you think, what are the developments in France that you would see similar to the digitized Russia? Are there any?
I mean, in France, it used to be digitalized already.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not bad on that point, but of course, bureaucracy in France is also very, very heavy, and especially when you want to create a company. You have tons of documents to give. I have to say that because before moving in Russia, I used to created a lot of different type of company in France, and every time you create new company, 2 days after you already receive taxes. In your box email, and you already have to pay. Here it is totally different.
How different?
It is the country for developing business. I mean, the tax are very low compared to the France. They are not, pushing you the first day of your start of working to pay any tax and something like that. Here, I have to say that when you are a businessman, when you want to start new business, it's very easy, much more easy than in France. And this is, by the way, the reason why a lot of people now from France, even the people who doesn't want to move in Russia, they want to have a company in Russia, or they want at least to open a bank account in Russia. Because, the problem in France is that the taxation is so huge. And here, because you don't have a lot of taxation, you can, create. You can have any idea and say, okay, now I want to do this business. You are not be crushed by tax. And more and more people in France, which is, I think, one of the most taxable country in the world, more and more people are calling me and asking me, oh, how can I open a bank account? How can I open a company in Russia?
So as you well know, Brain Consulting opens bank accounts in Russia and does migration services for foreigners moving into Russia. And we also help with opening companies. So that is something that we deal with. Please do feel free to forward us a message, and we'll happily get in touch with you and assist you. Outside of Moscow, people don't really speak as much English, and I would say they don't really speak English, to be honest. So Russian is absolutely key. And when you have moved in 2015, you had to learn your language, but all of your kids, how did that work out for them? How was it for them to transfer to a completely new life in a different country? To start everything anew.
I did something crazy. For me, it was a bet, and I was very scared that I could lose this bet. And when they came in Moscow, the oldest children that I have, he was 8 years old, or 7, I don't remember exactly. The only word in Russian that he knew, it was spasiba, с удовольствием, and до свидания. And I decided to put them in a Russian school.
Straight away.
Without any lesson of Russian. I put them in a school, and I had an agreement with the director of the school. So at the beginning, they were just following the classroom like that, listening all the lesson for days and days. But what I did also is that I put all my children in many different places for doing sport. When you are doing sport and speaking with someone, you put the verb with the action.
Yeah, exactly.
So, for example, it is very connected. So you play football and you say, hey, give me the ball. The children understand the word in Russian means give me the ball.
Yeah.
And they started to speak Russian through sport. And I have to say that after only 5 months, they started to speak Russian. I will remember all my life. The very day I remember, I was on my car in the morning to put my children at school, and my daughter, who was behind me, and she started to say a poem.
In Russian.
In Russian. And I was like, I'm not very good in Russian, but I could at that time say that she has no accent.
Oh, wow.
So instead of putting her in her classroom, I brought her to the director of the school, and I say, hey, I want to show you something. And I say to my daughter Clotilde, please, could you say the poem that you learned? And she started to do it. And the director had as his eyes like that. He take me on his arm and say, we won the bet. Because, it was amazing. And so my daughter, after 5 months, or I would say the girl, after 5 months, 6 months, the boy always a bit late.
A little later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm more lazy, you know. But after 1 year, they started to follow the school education like Russian. And now they are following everything. They are going to baccalaureate, EG, OG, like Russian people, you know,
So
without any problem.
Do you have someone already studying at a Russian university?
Yes.
What do they study?
I mean, my oldest son,
Mhm.
he had his baccalaureate,
Mm-hmm.
and with good quotation, you know. But he decided that he wanted to follow his cursus in France, because after that he wants to make a parallel
Masters?
education, yeah, with MGO,
Mm-hmm.
MGO University, because now he speaks Russian like French,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to have this double skill on the same level, not to lose his French also, because for him, I think that in the next couple of years, it will be very easy for him to find any job and he can speak these two languages very, very well.
And your younger kids, they study in an Orthodox gymnasium.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Why did you make the decision to put them in an Orthodox gymnasium?
You know, I'm Catholic. I'm a Catholic traditionalist. I'm very attached to God and to the rules of the Church, Catholic Church. And I do know that there is not such a big difference between Orthodox and Catholics. We have some few difference, but 99% is the same religious. So I had absolutely no problem to put them in the Orthodox school, but I wanted them to, because what I do like in the Orthodox church, Orthodox school, sorry, on the morning they do a prayer. Before eating, they also do a prayer. So they taught them to respect God, to pray every day, and so on, like I used to do when I was in France, you know. So the education of the Orthodox school is the prolongation of the education that I give to my children. So for me, it's totally logical, and I have to say that I have absolutely no problem, and I'm very happy that they are there. Plus, the school where they are very good level of school. So yeah, I'm very lucky on that side.
Russian society is a secular society, but what would you rate the development of, I don't know, spirituality or religiosity in the Orthodox sense of it, starting from when you arrived in 2015 to now?
The Russian society is very attached to the religious and to God. And this is one of the big differences that there are with Western country, because we forgot about that. There in France, for example, there are only few people who are going to the mass, who are believing to God. Very few people now. Here, most part of the society, even if they are not very attached, even if they don't go to the mass every Sunday, most of the people are believing God, and they do their life compared to the rules of the Orthodox Church. And this is what I was very surprised and very happy, because we can say that it is still an Orthodox society, you know. For example, when I take taxi from my home to Moscow, we go through some church, and many times I see the taxi driver making his sign when you go in front of a church. Here they respect, you know, God, they respect the church. It's very interesting for me, because this is exactly what I want for my country. France used to be like that many decades ago. Unfortunately, because of all this LGBT ideology, all these liberal people who are leading France now, we don't have that anymore. But we used to do like that. My grandparents were like that. My parents also. But now, everything disappear. God disappear from the society, and this is why it's a big problem. Because if God is on the society, everything is much better. There is no LGBT, there is no gay weddings, there is no gay pride, there is no all these things that are destroying the children.
There are families like yours in France who want to move to Russia. What advice would you give them? So, step by step, what should they do?
It's not something that you can do just walking. You wake up one morning and say, okay, let's go to Russia tomorrow. Because it's quite a big move. I would say first that they need to build that project, and they need to be helped. They need to receive help from some trustful people here in Moscow. For example, you, Bryden. I do know you and all the people who are working for your company, and I know you are very serious. But if you just come alone without any help and you don't speak Russian, it's not possible. And I'm not saying that to make any marketing for anyone. It's like that. The Russian languages is very important. So if you don't speak Russian, and plus, even if we share a lot of things in common between French and Russian, there are some big difference. You need to adapt to a new society with new rules, with new code. And if you don't know it, then it could be very, very hard, because to find the place, we spoke a few minutes ago about bureaucracy. To get the paper, the document, it's quite heavy to do. It's not so easy. So I would say take someone you believe in and ask them for help. And then you can build a really good project, because you have to find a place to live. First, you have to fulfill all the documents, then you have to find a place, then you have to find a job, then you have to find a place for your children. So all that stuff must be done with someone who knows the Russian society very well.
So step number one basically is research. Step number two, advice.
Yeah.
Obviously learning the Russian language. You've mentioned the differences between the two societies. What is one of the main differences you would highlight, just for people to have an understanding?
Between French and Russian society, for me, the first one which came to my mind is regarding the traditional values. For sure, I'm very attached to these traditional values. I'm very attached because I'm also, maybe because I'm Catholic. I want my children, I want my boy to become a man. I want my daughter to become a real girl, a real woman. And here in this society, it's a traditional society. Boy are boy, girl are girl. Doesn't mean that you don't have of course. Then they are playing each other and doing. But in Russia, everything is clean on that part. The problem is that in Western country now, we are teaching already for the 5 years old children. They invite some people from LGBT community to the classroom in kindergarten, and they teach them, maybe you are not a boy, maybe you can change your gender. Think about that. How come? No, it's not like that, And it's not only about that, but everything is. There is also something who really shocked me on a good way. In Russia, it's not rare that there is 3 generations of people on the same flat or house. Grandparents, parents, and children. In France, for example, we lose the connection with the grandparents. We are used to put the grandparents on a special place where they are all very old and to let them die there. No, it's not like that. You have to respect your parents and your grandparents. When they become old, you have to take them with you. You have to take care of them. And here, it's traditional way of doing. Because grandparents, first of all, we have to respect them because thanks to them, we are here. And second of all, they have many things to teach to the young generation. Because when you have 80 years old, you know much better life than when you are 18 years old. And this is why this is another point I was really pleased to see that how the babushka grandmother in Russia are respect. They are respected by everyone. Babushka, Didushka, they are the people that we need to listen, you know. And this is something also that I want to teach to my children, and that I wish sometimes we could have also in France, because we used also to have something such kind of society in France, but we do not have it anymore.
Why do you think that happened? How did it happen? Why it's not like that?
You know, it depends of the government that we have and the president that we have. When we have a president who is a real patriot, and he wants his country to become stronger, then the first thing that you have to do is to support family, because any society, any strong country is based on the family. Family is the most important things in the society. We used to have some president who used to support strongly family, to help them, to protect the children and everything else. But if you have any president who don't like their country, they don't care about the country, the only thing that they do care is about the money, people with whom they are connected with. For example, in France, after the Gaulle, they didn't have any more good president. They all were linked with the deep state of America, and they didn't care about the French people. And because of that, you know, and I think that they have, they do want, you know, because they are connected with other people which has other plan in their mind, they don't care about France. Well, they let France started to open the border to welcome millions of immigrants. They started to attack the family, to let LGBT people becoming stronger and stronger, and this totally destroy our society.
How did you find a new job here? How did you find your business here? How was it all like, especially back in 2000?
Yeah, you know, as I told you, I had this friendship association in 2008.
Yes.
And through this association, I started to be invited in Russia at that time. And I started to have quite a large network here in Russia. So when I decided to move with my wife, I already had some knowledge about Russian people, I mean, Russian network, Russian business. So I came and I already had a job to do. So of course it helped me a lot, because the company for which I used to work helped me to find a place, to find a house, to find a school and everything. So this is what I said. Without that, I don't know if I could have a success on my project. But I had some people who used to like me and support me and help me, and this is why everything went very well for us.
In this sense, it's really important to have your networking figured out.
Yeah.
It's really important to connect, and that's respect. How would you rate the expat community here, French expat community?
I would share.
There's the French lycée.
There are less French people than there used to be before SVO, but now this number is growing up because of thanks to this new decree. And the people in the French community are very kind. Most of them, they do prefer to put their children in the French school.
Yeah.
It wasn't my case, because, you know, for the reason that I explained, I want a traditional way of education for my children. And for me, the problem from the French school, which was linked to the French education system, I was afraid that they still could have some things that it is not exactly on the way that I want for my children regarding the traditional values. But I know that the French school is good, you know, here. I mean, in terms of level, and I know some professors there, they're very good. But I decided that if I come in Russia, I want my children and to speak Russian. Because if you want to embrace culture of a country, you need to speak the languages. Unfortunately for me, it's more hard, This is why we are speaking English. I know Russian. I can on my daily life speaking Russian, but when it is about interview or something like that, I still prefer to speak French or English. It's more easy for me. My Russian level is not very good, but still I'm working on it, you know. But for me, it wasn't very easy to learn the Russian language.
Do you have a funny story related to learning Russian?
I have some funny story, you know, because when we moved here in Russia, I worked. I studied Russian many months before, so I started to speak a bit. And very fast, as I told you, my children started to speak Russian very, very easily. And when I was speaking at that time, they always were laughing at me, you know. It's not like that. Your accent is very bad. You make a grammatical mistake here and here. And I was like, wow, how is it possible that my 8 years old children laugh about me like that? So it was quite funny. But and you know, at that time because they started to be better than me quite fast. And when I, for example, had any problem with my car, I need to put it in the garage, I used to take my children with me to make the translation.
Oh, wow.
8 years old children make the
Translator.
translation, yeah. Shame on me. But I had to do that.
It's always tougher for adults though, but that's why we offer free Russian language lessons you can subscribe to. They have it online, they have it in the evenings, and we have a French group as well. You're very welcome to join. There's going to be a link in the description. What do you think can be done to actually, especially in this difficult time, to strengthen the relationship between France and Russia?
You know, I don't think that there is a lot to do in the Russian perspective, because Russian government, Russian people are still very kind with French people. I will give you an example. I mean, just to finish, the problem is not from Russia, it's from France. Because the mainstream media in France are always speaking about Russia in a very bad way. So there are a lot of people in French who are, because they are watching the TV, reading the newspaper, and then they are, oh, Russian people are very aggressive. And if they defeat Ukraine, then they will come in Paris. This is what the mainstream media in France are saying. But it's not true. And Russian people, they do like France very much. Even now. Even now. I remember, you know, I was visited in Punklonaya Hill. Yeah, it was maybe 2 years ago. There was an exhibition about all the vehicles, armored vehicles, which were destroyed on the SVO and bring in Moscow. So there were material from France, from Germany, from UK, from Italian, all the country. And I wanted to visit it. And some journalists came to me because they hear that I was speaking French, and they started, you know, to make a short interview. And because I was speaking French, lots of Russian people were watching this interview. And when I finished it, they were like, oh, thank you. Why are you still here? And thank you for being here. We are very happy to see you. And you know what? All this material from the army, they are used to kill the father, the brother, of all these people that I met. They could have been, you know, upset, because the French material, for example, it was armored tank and artillery. So they are used to kill Russian people. But the Russian people, instead of telling me, why are you here? You're French, go away to your country. They were like, oh, we are very happy to see you here. Thank you for being here, to stay here during the SVO and so on. And I want to put this in comparison with what I saw at the beginning of the SVO in 2022, because I have a lot of friends. They are married with Russian girls living in France. And they told me, oh, you know what? My wife, they blocked her bank account because she's Russian. So, you know, the Russian people were persecuted in France at the beginning of the SVO. The French people who were living in Russia, they were, on the contrary, oh, thank you for staying here. This is the big difference of these two societies, you know. Okay, Russian and France, they have a problem in terms of government, but the Russian population still like the French people, still like French. And I was very sad to see that many French people at the beginning of the SVO started to hate all the Russian people, all what was connected with Russian because of the mainstream media. Now it's much better, I have to say, because this summer I went back France. I started to discuss with many people. And when I told them, okay, where do you come from? Ah, I come from Moscow, I told them. I could have said, oh no, I'm from Bordeaux. No, I wanted to see the reaction, you know? So I said, oh.
What was the reaction?
And the reaction, I was pleased because they were, oh, could you tell me more about Russia, Moscow? How is the life there? Because I saw on the mainstream media that there is nothing to eat. Nothing to it. That because of sanction, the life is very hard. No, I mean, in Moscow, the life is totally normal. I told them, and they were very, you know, more like, I want to have the truth. Because now French people, they start to understand that the mainstream media are lying on this topic and in all many other topics, but on this one especially. And I was very happy to see that they weren't like, oh, you're Russian, because I told them I have the Russian passport. I wanted to see the reaction, you know. And they were, oh, okay, very interesting. How is the life? I told them that I have many children, and so, how is the life for their children? Is everything okay? But it was more like, you know, very neutral question, not aggressivity anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because 3 years ago, they were very aggressive.
So aggressive to curiosity. That's the trend.
Yeah.
One of the things that obviously connects Russia and France is culture, because there's been so much cultural exchange.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for years, the culture, the music, the sense of humor, we have the same sense of humor. And
very brutal.
Yeah, but you know, when I'm speaking with Russian people, I'm surprised because they really like the French movie. And the French funny movie.
Yeah.
So I think that we really have the same type of sense of humor. We also have share the same interest for science. I spoke with many engineers here. I am an engineer, and the same also open-minded people. You know, Russian people, they hate nobody. They like everyone, and French people are like that. The problem is that when there are too many migrants, at the end of the day, it created problem. But French people are very kind with everyone. Like Russian, they are very open to everyone. Okay, welcome to our country. Don't hesitate to come. How can I help you? And we have a lot of things that not only in culture, but also in our soul, in our behavior, that are the same between French and Russian people.
Yes, so I mean, there's been many cultural and artistic periods. So Soviet Union, contemporary Russia, and earlier on, is there a period in a specific art that you really like?
I can't say that, but I will say that the two main points that I like when I'm here is to go to the theater. This is amazing.
Which theaters do you go to? What did you last see?
You know, the Bolshoi Theater, of course. I try to go as many times as I can, and when I invite French people in my home, I always manage to find a ticket to go there because it's cheap. And there is another point that I really like to see is all the you have a very, very good painter. Yeah, I have seen in the Glazunov exhibition. Yeah. And I'm speaking about it, but I don't remember the name of some other. But when I go in any museum where there is painting, Russian people are painting very, very well.
Maybe that could be one of the spheres to integrate the two countries.
Yeah.
To bridge the two.
Yeah, because normally sports, culture, art should stay like it is, even if there is problem between two countries. The worst point coming from Western country was, for example, even if you have an argument with the Russian government, why asking all the Russian sportsmen, not to go to the Olympic game? Why? I mean, you see that there is something which is very bad there. Why? Because the Western government, they don't want just to win a war in Ukraine. They really want to destroy Russia, the Russian culture, Russian civilization, Russian history, everything. They want to make a strategic defeat to the Russian people, to Russia. This is why we created, by the way, this international movement of Russophile, because we want to fight against that. I'm supporting Russia. I'm supporting Russia not only on the daily life, but on what they are doing in SVO, because I know what's happened there. I've been already, I started to go in Donbass in 2017. I saw with my eyes what's happened there. I saw the Kiev regime bombing civilian people in Donetsk. I have seen everything. So I can speak about that. You know, the problem is that they hate Russia. I mean, the Western government hate Russia. And they don't want only to win this war, they want to destroy Russia. And now, you know, we started this association 2.5 years ago, and we already have more than 80 different satellites in more than 80 countries in Africa, South America, Asia, everywhere in this world. Because, you know, at the end of the day, it's only this very small group of people who are hating Russia. The world like Russia. I mean, 99% of the people in this world, they like Russian culture, they like Russian history, they like Russian civilization, they like everything about Russia. But because we have a small group of people in America, in France, in Germany, UK, which, by the way, stole the power from the people, because if you ask anyone in France what they think about Macron, I will tell you that only 10% maybe are supporting him. 90% of the French people, they hate him now. But, you know, they are still leading the country and do what they want, against the willing of the French people, who don't want a war against Russia. They don't. And they even don't want any more sanctions against Russia, because now the price of the energy in France grew up by maybe 2 or 3 times what it used to be. You know, the price of the energy is now totally crazy. And the French people, they can't warm their home during winter. They only do 2 hours a day. My parents, they work all their life. During winter, they can only warm up the house 2 hours a day. And it's not only my parents. My parents-in-law, I saw it, some friends, they're all doing that, because the energy of gas, the gas is amazing, the price, because of all the sanctions that Macron government put towards Russia. So now everyone is fed up with this sanction, with this war. But the problem is that these people, they stole the power from the real French people, and they do what they want.
If you were a deputy of the Duma for a day, what initiatives or measures would you?
In Russia? It's a hard question.
And that's why I said about your background.
I have an idea. Coming from my experience, because a few months ago I had quite a big deal to face. I'm going to tell the story if you want. You know, I was living for 8 years in the same house. My wife was pregnant for our 10th children, and the landlord of my home, he told me, okay, I want to take back my home. Please, could you leave? I told him, but I need 3 months or from 2 or 3 months minimum to find a new place, because it's not easy. I knew that it's not easy when you have a big, large family to find a new place. I want you to leave before, if you can. I say, okay, I'm going to do my best, but I'm not sure that I can. And I started, to visit more than 40 houses. 40. Every time when I told the landlord that I had 10 children, the landlord was a bit afraid that my children could completely destroy the house, So it was quite complicated for me to find a new place. And I had this idea that I submitted to Mrs. Golikova and Mr. Kirienko. And I told them, I told them about my story because I had the opportunity. The vice prime minister, Madame Golikova, and the vice head of the Russian administration, presidential administration, Mr. Kirienko. And I was in a round table with them, and I told them about my story, and I told them, okay, I don't want this happen to any large family, because it wasn't very pleasant for me. I was under big stress, because it took me 5 months to find a house. And I told them, here is my ID that I have with the assembly, the World Assembly of People. Why not passing a new law, which we can say to the landlord, okay, if you accept to rent your house to a large family, more than 5 or 6 children, then you will have a reduction of your tax property. And you know what I really like in this country? I told that to this high-ranking political people, and they were like, oh, this is very interesting. Let's start to work on it. I was speaking about the bureaucracy at the beginning. The bureaucracy for normal life used to be quite heavy. Now it's much better. But when it is about, finding new way to support large family, new way to support people from Western country, they are very, very reactive. And they told me, okay, let's start to work on it. And then I went to Nizhny Novgorod, and I spoke with the governor of Nizhny Novgorod, Mr. Gleb Nikitin, and I told him about my story and about this idea. And he told me, okay, tomorrow we start to work on it. I want to be the pilot region to start on this law. So if I were a deputy of the Duma, of the Gosduma, I will vote this law.
Amazing.
And I even have a name for this law. This law, this is my idea. I don't know if it will happen, but my idea was to call it Maison du Bonheur in French, which means house of happiness. Yeah. And in Russian, it's Dom Chastye.
Dom Chastye.
Yeah.
Great. Fabrice, this is amazing. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you guys for watching. We were going to link all of the initiatives of Fabrice in the description. As always, look forward to more new videos. Ask questions, get in touch with us, and move on and move to Russia, right?
Exactly.
Thank you, Fabrice.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.